Hey everyone, welcome back. Did you all watch AG's match against Alpha 7? How was it for you? As for me, I personally loved every second of it. Hands down, it was one of the most exciting KWC matches I've seen so far. As I mentioned earlier, in today's video, I'll be analyzing all 4 games from that matchup. I'll try to break down what was probably going through AG's minds during their plays, their game sense, and the overall strategies they used throughout the series. I'm going to walk you through everything in detail, all the interesting things I noticed, and all the little moments that really stood out to me. Not gonna lie, you're going to learn a lot from this video, especially about AG as a team. By the end, you might just find yourself rooting for them, or even becoming a fan. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we'll go through each of their games one by one, and first, we'll break down their very first game. Following our traditions, we'll begin by analyzing their BP, meaning their draft phase. So let's dive in. Okay, so it's honestly hard to say who'd win just by looking at these team comps. One team has a really strong mid to late game, while the other is stronger in the early game. If I had to choose, I'd lean slightly toward Alpha 7, mainly because Shangguan tends to fall off pretty hard as the game progresses. Sure, Shangguan can threaten Lady Sun, but that's mostly in the early game. In the late game, Ming can just out-heal Shangguan's damage, and even prevent Lady Sun from getting one-shotted. Also, Biran is a solid counter to Dharma. Dharma excels in ambushes, not face-to-face fights. And Biran isn't exactly squishy, so Dharma can't really pull off surprise kills on him. At all stages, Biran beats Dharma in direct matchups. And if Dharma somehow does land a good knock-up on AG, Zhuangzi can just ult and free everyone from CC, completely turning the tide. Now, Arlie is fine against Lady Sun, but the real issue is Arlie plus Zhuangzi just doesn't come close to matching the value of Lady Sun plus Ming. That duo is cracked. Ming's healing is insane, and Lady Sun isn't weak by any means. So yeah, in terms of drafts alone, not factoring in the players, it's really tough to call. Alpha 7 clearly has the stronger mid to late game comp, while AG's comp shines more in the early game. But despite that slight disadvantage, AG will still come out on top. That's them just being themselves, and I'm going to show you exactly how they did it. And there's one super important thing I'll be highlighting later in this video. Please don't miss that out. Alright, I think I've covered everything I wanted to say about the draft for Game 1. Now let's dive into the match itself and see what we can learn from it.
To purify at the KPL and Alpha 7.
At the start of the game, Yinuo switched lanes because Arlie plus Zhuangzi is weaker than Lady Sun plus Ming, as I already explained during the draft phase analysis. And yes, it's completely okay to switch lanes in honor of kings if it's necessary. Alpha 7 was smart and expected AG to do something like switching their lanes, so they switched as well. That's how both Arlie and Lady Sun ended up meeting in the mid lane, which might seem weird or confusing to many new players who are still learning.
Well farmed indeed, right? I mean, we're already seeing like that 3-man rotation to the top side of the map here.
Now at the 1 minute mark, Yinuo starts his classic 2-wave strategy. He goes to the clash lane and takes the clash wave, which Baron was already farming. But now with Yinuo joining him, they both share the gold. Then Yinuo teleports to mid to pick up the mid wave. Because Yinuo is super experienced, you'll notice that Shui, AG's roamer, doesn't stick with him as much as most roamers do with their ADCs. It's also just Shui's personality. He's the type who hates helping the ADC. My guy literally builds damage items on support and engages like he's a fucking assassin. Don't be like him.
Actives come online, but I can imagine we're going to start to see the side lane or in that.
After 2 minutes into the game, Yinuo clears the mid wave, then the clash lane, and finally teleports to the farm lane, his home. He actually does this so that Shangguan can start roaming now, since she's hit level 4 and can easily take down squishy targets or at least lower their HP down a lot.
You are a little bit more vulnerable, right? Exactly, and look at Shang right now. He's going on to Danny. Danny goes extremely low.
At 3:30, Alpha 7's Agudo makes a big mistake. She uses her ult right in front of Shangguan, which is honestly a terrible decision. Here's a quick tip for you all. No matter how tanky Agdo may seem, once she throws her animal with her ult, she becomes super squishy and has no mobility. That means she's gonna die.
Tap, hop in that CD key and you will be getting that all for you. And look at AG here. Immediately with that rotation here, they are invading the jungle of Dani here. However, Dani does secure the spike, but look at the engage coming in from Fury.
After 4 minutes, the jungle debuff is gone, so AG goes for the invade. But unfortunately, they fail to steal the buff. Still, it's fine. And even though Zoe dies, that doesn't mean he was lacking. He clearly just didn't expect Mai Shiranui and Agudo to deal that much damage in the global version. In the CN server, they actually do less damage.
Alpha 7, but Niap gets the catch onto 2, but the triple merger is not going to quite hit as hard as we was expected.
Ooh, health bars up.
AG was honestly being a bit of an egoist here with that 4v5, but they actually lived because they positioned so damn well that Dharma didn't even get a chance to kick them into a wall. Still, don't be like AG. That was risky as hell.
And onto Fury here. That engage onto Zoe, that was very good and very on point.
Okay guys, now it's time to talk about a serious matter. A real concern in honor of King's global server, and honestly, the highlight of this video. So I want all your attention here right now, because this part is super important. At 449, you'll notice Mai Shiranui builds Boots of Resistance. Now first off, I just want to ask, why? Why would you build that when AG literally has 0 CC heroes? Makes no sense. And second, you, Mai Shiranui, needed anti-heal. Now you might be thinking, why anti-heal? AG only has one healer, and that's Oghren, right? Nope, that's wrong. It's not just Oghren. It's Oghren plus Biron plus Frenzy Arlie plus Frenzy Shangguan. All of them heal, so you actually need anti-heal early. At high level play or in high elo, mid laners will rush anti-heal as their first item even before boots. That's because they want to have it ready by level 4, just in time to fight. There's this common misconception that healers are only strong in the late game, but nope, they're actually strongest early during skirmishes. Why? Because at that stage, no one has enough burst damage to one-shot anyone. That gives healers time to heal their team and snowball the fight. And that's why anti-heal is crucial early. Building it late is pointless. By then, the enemy healer has already helped their team snowball. So who should build anti-heal first? The mid laner. Roamers could too, but they're usually broke and have to prioritize roam items first, which delays everything. Ideally, both mid and roamer should build it. But mid is the priority.
Look at Niap here, he's just playing around with Ran right now. But on the side of AG, AL, they start up the Tyrant and there seems to be no contest coming in.
Because Alpha 7 didn't build anti-heal in time, AG was easily able to take the dragon. Alpha 7 couldn't even contest. They just couldn't win that fight without anti-heal. Simple as that.
It's Crimson buff and this AGAL space out. They love fighting around objectives.
Finding the right objectives, I mean, even into the enemy's objectives as well, right? But Danny does use the Fireball to be addicted onto.
With the dragon buff and wave Prio, which I'll talk about in a moment, AG goes for another invade. But Mai Shiranui rushes in way too early. She engages without thinking, and once again, with no fucking anti-heal, she just throws and dies.
Do get a takedown onto Fury. One of the big damage outputs here, but into the back line. It is going to be Zoe, met by Niap, coming in with that.
Zoe overstayed on purpose here. He knew he could position himself so his back is toward his skill 1 ability, making it really hard for Dharma to land a kick that knocks him into the wall. Then he timed his ult perfectly during Dharma's ult to heal, and once again the enemy had no anti-heal. So he survived. If they had anti-heal, he would have died for sure. But to be fair, he probably wouldn't have stayed that long if they did have it. So whatever.
In from Shuai's Zhuangzi here, so this may be your chance here, but Niap makes a mistake.
Oh, Flash is being committed and dashes as well. Niap gets taken down. Then that.
Once again, Alpha 7 rushed the engage for no reason. There was no objective on the map, so why force a fight? Their comp is built to play around Lady Sun and scale into the late game. They're much stronger later on, so I really don't get why they're playing so aggressively early. It's like they're letting their intrusive thoughts win.
It's just so darn scary.
It's very scary. I mean, late game, early game power.
Did you notice Ran AG's Clash laner constantly pushing the side lanes? That gives AG Wave priority and tempo control. Wave Prio means AG can move or invade before the enemy can, and that's a huge advantage. It also forces Alpha 7's Clash laner to keep clearing waves, leaving him no time to look for a proper wraparound engage. With that wave pressure, AG slowly starts to suffocate Alpha 7. They're stuck under tower, always clearing, never resetting, basically always playing catch-up.
The side of AGAL, but it's not going to deter them here.
AG took the first inhibitor, the 3rd tier tower of Alpha 7. Before finishing the tower, Yinuo uses his ult. Why? 2 reasons. First, it protects him in case Mai Shiranui tries a surprise flash ult. Second, it lets him return to the jungle 2 seconds faster. And those 2 seconds are exactly what separate a good player from a legendary one. Because of that tiny timing advantage, Yinuo is able to finish clearing the red buff right as Alpha 7 is done clearing the wave. Perfect sync.
Of every resource that is available on your map.
Oh, look at those dashes there.
The way, they had enough time to chase down Dharma and force his flash. AG knew he wasn't going to die. The goal wasn't to kill him, it was to burn his flash. Why? Because the 10-minute dragon was about to spawn, and a Dharma without flash is no threat in a teamfight.
Moving through from Shang onto the Shangguan, like...
This entire time, Ran is split pushing, fully aware that Alpha 7 doesn't have any real opportunity to force a fight.
Thanks to the help of Verbal, the cute big thing, beacon up takedowns. We are going to get that takedown of the first Shadow.
At the 10-minute mark, AG starts taking the Tyrant, and Yinuo doesn't even show up because Alpha 7 is so far behind in tempo that they don't have the time or map control to walk out and check. Now, take a look at Shuai's positioning. This part is crucial. As a roamer, it's his job to be far ahead, zoning the enemy and providing vision. This kind of aggressive positioning only works for roamers who are tanky enough or smart enough not to die. After securing the dragon, AG simply pushes mid and bot, dives the tower, and ends the game. Clean and easy. And that's where our analysis for Game 1 ends. The key takeaways from this match are simple but important. Your mid laner should prioritize anti-heal as their first item. Wave priority matters, a lot. And finally, don't rush your engages unnecessarily. Now let's move on to the next game. This is the second game between AG and Alpha 7, and as usual, we'll first take a look at their drafts and try to guess how things might play out. So in theory, Alpha 7's composition is winning in every lane. Biran beats Guan Yu in Clash lane. Pei is even with Dun in jungle, but Dun is a bit slower. Mid is balanced. Both teams' mid laners are more or less on par. Bot lane is also looking favorable for Alpha 7. The overall issue here is that AG lacks damage while Alpha 7 lacks a solid front line. That gives Pei a lot of freedom to do whatever he wants, especially since both his side lanes are winning. So on paper, this Alpha 7 draft looks really good. And yes, we can safely assume that AG will go for a lane swap again in the early game, just like they did in the first match. In theory, Alpha 7 should have the stronger early game. When we move into the mid game, I'd give a slight advantage to AG because the combination of Dulia and Dun becomes really strong around that phase. However, when it comes to late game, Alpha 7 clearly has a lot more damage, which gives them the edge in extended teamfights. AG again has healing into their composition, so Alpha 7 should definitely build anti-heal, but honestly, I doubt they will. And one last important thing to note. In teamfights, Alpha 7 has to be very careful about Guan Yu's positioning. You do not want him wrapping around and flanking your backline. That would be a huge problem. Alright, enough with the draft. Let's get into the game now.
Against Alpha 7 Esports.
As expected, AG swaps lanes again right from the first wave. Guan Yu loses to Biran in lane, and Guan Yu is a special case. He's like a roamer Clash hybrid who doesn't really want to lane against anyone. Also, Consort Yu counters Luong, so AG swapped their Clash and ADC.
From AG as they swap Yino
And get those 1v1.
They already counted.
Alpha 7 made a mistake here. Their mid, jungle, and roamer were all hiding in the bot side mid bush, and AG spotted them, which meant no one was defending Alpha 7's red buff. So Zoe took the chance to invade. Now you might think Zoe invaded to bait Donnie into counter-invading AG's red, which would mess up Donnie's rotation toward Yinuo, buying Yinuo some time to scale. But nope, that's not what happened. Donnie still went straight for Yinuo just a bit later. And honestly, it's like no one on AG ever cares about Yinuo's safety. They just assume he'll be okay somehow. It's actually hilarious. In-game, Yinuo is probably like, hey guys, I need help. And the rest of AG's like, nah, you good. Wait, let me show you some clips that perfectly capture AG's team dynamics. In this first one, Yinuo literally says, Charlotte is on me, help! And his team just straight up replies, no we can't, even though they totally could have helped. Classic AG.
哎，上车没闪，看后面，看不了，一波了我们这边，点塔，一波了，快点塔，点塔，别让链接死了，链接还是死了。
And the next clip is even funnier. Before the fight, Cat tells Yinuo, as long as you tank enough damage, we'll win. Then in the actual fight, Yinuo gets jumped by Mayeni and starts yelling, save me! Meanwhile, Zoe's over there shouting, hey, give me the penta! So chaotic. But that's AAG for you.
中下接着一下，你死了我们能收割的，黄总。你只要吃到够多的技能就行。来，我放下，拉交满没漏，我就卡交满。可以慢慢打，兄弟，可以慢慢打。我撞了，给我。哎，看一下，给我，可以死，兄弟。全死。杀交满，有杀交满。给个5杀，兄弟，给个5杀。别先杀人，别5杀了，我真5杀了，兄弟，给5杀。真的吗？真的5杀，兄弟，牛逼！可以，牛逼了，我背了。 挨了，被动，有的好吗？注意，可以，教练，哎，怎么还有没踩到？我操！你这把就是献祭的，你这把黄忠，让他们欠你。
Alright, enough about AG's team dynamics. Let's get back to analyzing the game now.
Very, very important in being the flank here coming in from AGA.
Did you notice Sheng helping Zoe clear his jungle? Zoe is playing Dun, a blue-collar jungler, meaning he's strong in fights from early to late game, but his jungle clear is pretty slow. So Sheng steps in to help him speed up the tempo. Plus, Sheng gets more gold this way too.
Check the honor pass that you get for free with obviously the KWC exclusive skin.
Alpha 7's Clash laner Biran is playing a bit too cautiously. He's just sitting behind the tower and losing minions. I think he could afford to be a little more proactive with his farming.
Slowly but surely, obviously.
Invade here is being set up coming in from AG's team composition as they look for an engage.
They do look for an engage, a lot of aggression there. That's the poke and prod that we see from the...
Zoe sneaks into the enemy blue buff even though it's before 4 minutes. But because of the lane swap, AG's mid, roamer, jungle, and Clash are all stronger in early fights compared to Alpha 7's mid, roamer, jungle, and ADC. However, Alpha 7 brought Biran as backup too, and Ran ended up dying for the blue, so it was an even trade.
First blood here definitely pumps up the morale coming in from
AG likes having Yinuo clear jungle with Zoe. This way they both get more gold that way. And you can totally tell Yinuo wants that red buff.
Now, Yinuo is taking a lot of damage, but he does have the infinite fastness, right? He's able to use it to try and get out there. Think inside the box, being committed.
That was a really cool flash ult by Alpha 7's Mosey, but since Consort Yu had no abilities left, it ended up being a waste of flash.
This Tyrant here by both teams here. We have 10.
AG went to take Tyrant, and just like in the last game, Alpha 7 couldn't contest it, for the same exact reason.
Know how important it is to target down AGA Eldino here, and look at Vidal. He has no flash, he gets...
Remember when I said the roamer should walk up really far to zone the enemy and provide vision? Yeah, well, I also said only do that if your roamer isn't going to die. Amazi with no flash is absolutely going to die. And guess what? He died. Don't be like Alpha 7, and because he died, AG is now going to continuously invade their jungle. From this point on, you'll notice Alpha 7's jungle basically belongs to AG.
But it's going to be thanks to Fury that's not actually going to follow through here.
Consort Yu flashes in for Yinuo and ults him, but honestly, it wasn't worth it. First off, her flash has a much longer cooldown than her ultimate. And second, AG has Dolia, who can just refresh Yinuo's ultimate anyway. So what did that achieve? Also, just take a look at the gold difference. Yinuo is 1k gold ahead without even getting a single kill. Instead of forcing plays, she should have just focused on farming better.
Where can you escape? You're locked into this bush!
Yeah, it's kind of like a rock between two hard places at this point in the game. Danny is trying to just rotate and try and find a way back to his friends onto the opposite side of the gorge. But right now, he's sat there. No one's found him. We can obviously see that Inua and Shui are looking...
Danny really tried hard to split push this game to slow down AG's tempo. And this is exactly why I'd say Danny is really, really good. He understands macro, and he's doing his best to buy time for his team. As for Yinuo, you might be wondering why he didn't flash to secure the kill. The reason is simple. At this stage, burning flash just for a kill isn't worth it. The gold from a kill doesn't justify losing such a valuable mobility tool.
Yeah, just trying to push them away from that T2 in the mid lane.
He pushed back with T2 and he...
Bro, did you see that damage from Yinuo? Consort Yu just got deleted. Like, absolutely melted in a second.
Need the objectives.
And look at Yinuo here, he goes for flank here, but CR7 press the protective switch. He gets out alive, but the remaining members coming in from Alpha 7, you have nowhere to go as you get taken down one.
Yinuo pulled off his classic long wraparound engage, the only ADC who actually wraps around like a flanker. It's such an insane move that only Yinuo seems to pull off, and I'll definitely break it down in detail in a separate video someday. And that's GG. Not much else to say. Once Mosey died, AG just completely took over the game from there. These two matches were honestly so fun to watch, and we picked up a lot of valuable insights along the way. Next, I'm going to break down how AG plays Jing. But hold on, oops. This video turned out way too long, so we'll save that for the next part. I'll also talk about one of AG's weak points that most people don't notice, so don't miss it. If you've stayed with me this far, I really hope you learned something new today. If you did, please consider liking the video and sharing it with others. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hype this video up as much as you can. If you'd like to support me directly and keep me motivated to create more content like this, you can join the channel membership. I'll catch you in the next one. Love y'all, my W subscribers.